Go back.
Oh no.
Look at that guy compared to this guy now.
I was just on the Wendy's diet basically back then.
Yeah. Very first driver to lock into the championship for this season, driver of the number 11 for Joe Gibbs Racing, Denny Hamlin. DH, you've had 2 weeks to prepare for a championship race. Kind of dangerous for you guys, right?
This is a short week. I mean, the cars have to go out to Phoenix for the West Coast on like Tuesday.
Yep.
And so our work has been done. We've been ready.
Well, this is my first time that I've had a chance to talk to you since the 60th win at Las Vegas. So if you don't mind, let's reminisce. Let's take a walk down memory lane a little bit, because can we just fast forward, pause right there.
Oh gosh.
Go back.
Oh no.
Look at that guy compared to this guy now. I will say, at 44 years old,
a lot of Chesterfield, Virginia in that photo.
You look a lot better, DH.
Well, I appreciate that. I was just on the Wendy's diet basically back then, and I changed myself to the Subway diet.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
So 60 wins, obviously such a huge milestone. I want to walk through these milestone wins. This one being your first back in 2006 at Pocono. What do you remember and recall from this day?
I remembered that anybody could have drove my car to a win because it was so fast. Back then the teams could really build in so much speed into your race cars that as a driver, yes, you had to do it right, but I just remember having so much speed at that racetrack that it was hard for me to mess it up. And I remember going out there for practice on that day, or 2 days beforehand. I think it was Mark Martin that went past me on pit road, and I'm like, I'd never seen the racetrack, never driven it in any kind of way. And I'm like, well, I should probably follow him. He knows where he's going. And it was a few laps later, I passed him in practice, and I was like, I think I got this track figured out.
Nice. I love this. When you look back at your first win, I have to imagine Pocono will forever be special to you.
My balance was bad, I can tell you that.
You did have a full, what was that, a 2-liter in your hand? So it was throwing you off a little bit.
I've been with the Coca-Cola family for quite some time now. So listen, I've been a supporter of their product well before I got into NASCAR, I can tell you that.
This is so great. Okay, we're going to keep it going, because you also, in the fall of 2009, get your first win at your home track at Richmond. Walk me through this night under the lights.
Until the 2016 Daytona 500, this was my proudest moment. Just because I had spent so many races watching from Commonwealth C section, which is right past the start-finish line, that all I wanted to do was just win at my home track. And I remember the heartbreak of, I believe it was the year before, this is the whole Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr. crash into turn 3.
That's right.
We led every lap but one until I had a flat tire, and I just was so heartbroken over not getting that win that to redeem ourselves here, this was just big. And actually on my racing shoes up until 2 years ago, I had this date embroidered in my shoes for the last 15 years.
I love it. Yeah, Richmond, your first race as a kid? Was this the first ever NASCAR race you attended?
Yeah, this is what essentially got my passion for NASCAR started, is that my parents brought me to a NASCAR race when I was 5. I mean, all it took was for me to smell the tires and the fuel and hear the roaring cars going by for me to get hooked on wanting to have this moment for myself.
This one, we're starting to get closer and closer to the Denny we see today. It's a little bit less looking like the 2006
I took in a few less calories.
Let's talk this winless streak that was broken in 2013 at Homestead. Such a fun racetrack, but to watch you break this winless streak was really fun.
That was a tough year. I mean, obviously,
this was your back year, right?
I got injured earlier on in the season. That was when my feud with Joey was kind of in full force. But I just knew that, like, I didn't want to go a season without winning. I knew that the streak was alive, and at this point, I'm just thinking, get me to the finish line, because we'd just not been real contenders that year. And I remember as a driver just not being able to feel the race car like I had in the past for quite a few months. But towards the end of the season, I started to get my feel back in my back, and that's where, dominating this race at the end was just a great momentum boost for us going into the next season.
Well, this next win that we want to highlight, you already said it, I think this might be the most special of your career. This is the 2016 Daytona 500. What do you remember from this day?
I don't remember much in the race car because it was so instinctual. I remember, and I still believe this was the greatest one lap that I've ever driven in a race car. To have to, come from, I think, 4th or 5th on that final lap, side draft all those guys, keep my momentum going. It was just, this was by far the biggest moment for me that I had up until 60.
Yeah, this is what started the crown jewel hunt for the 11
Yes,
here.
yes.
And then let's look ahead to another big one on your career list. This was the Darlington win that you had in 2017, the fall. Night win under the lights, one of the hardest racetracks we see all year. What did this one mean to you?
This was this was me messing up coming to pit road, trying my best to make it to pit road. And our MO has always been running long. And Steve Letarte talks about strategy all the time after the race, on the inside of the race here. But I just remember them saying, give me all you got. We're going to go long, and you're going to have to come from a lap down to win this race. And we made up an entire lap
No pressure.
on the 78 here. Of course, he had a tire issue. He pitted earlier, but we had ran him down, made up a complete lap in those 50, 60 laps, whatever it was. And I just, man, this was one of my more gratifying drives that I had in all of my career.
Yeah, this was a cool paint scheme. It looked really good under the lights at Darlington. That brings me now to your back-to-back. Not many people can say this, is Daytona 500 wins, where you just go on a tear at this place. It was like Denny Hamlin's playground. You make restrictor plate back in the day, now super speedway racing, look easy.
Yeah. It wasn't easy, but I just learned from some of the very best. I mean, I formed a relationship with Dale Earnhardt Jr., and I just was able to be teammates with Tony Stewart. I mean, just some of the best super speedway drivers. And so I just was really a student of the game. And so for so many years, I never won a super speedway race. It was over a decade until I actually won a points restrictor plate race. But I had failed so many times being in this situation that it finally just turned the page of, now I know what I need to do different. And yeah, we really perfected those things for a while.
Yeah, and then you go on to win the next one. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, this was one of the more patient wins I'd ever. I get past here. We're coming to the checkered.
This is a scary night for me.
At this time, I'm like, it's okay. I'm going to get one more shot at this. Because if you look how big the spoiler is on the 12 here, the runs were always so huge. And so I knew I was going to get him beside the 6. I just wanted to capitalize on whatever happened in that moment. And I mean, that is essentially the essence of the seas parting.
Yes, yeah. He goes on to make it to victory lane. I mean, we love these Daytona finishes. This is why we race here.
The two closest in history, we've been first in both of them.
And then I was at this one. I've been at most of Denny's wins here in the last 10 years, but this was a late night. It was the longest Coca-Cola 600.
History.
This is actually a legit fact. It was the longest one in history back in 2022. This night, you checked off the crown jewel marker.
Yeah, I remember I had to beat Kyle Busch at this time, and I just remember going into, I think it was the final lap. I go into turn 1, I'm on the inside of him, and I say, I'm not going to lift until I hear him lift. I'm going to wait one more beat, and I'm going to go a little deeper than him. And just to get this crown jewel kind of checked off for me was, I mean, it just at this point in my career, I've been doing this now for 18 years, something like that. I'm like, gosh, am I ever going to win a Coke 600? This one was awesome for me.
Celebrating with Coca-Cola at 2 a.m. in Charlotte Motor Speedway was a fun night for all of us. All right, and then last but not least on this milestone, we finally, your goal that you have talked about for a very long time was 60 wins. You get it at Vegas this year, which ultimately locked you into the championship 4. But let's walk through this day. What do you remember? And walk me through the 60th win.
Yeah, I just remember finding another gear. I hadn't shown the speed all day long. The team, you got to give them credit. They made the adjustments for that last 15-lap run. But
great race
at this point, when I clear the 5 right here into turn 1, and yet still gain on the 19, I was like, oh man, this is my race. And I just remember hammering down, pushing the car beyond what I thought the limit of it was. And so while I thought the Daytona 500 in 2016 was the best one lap that I've driven, I thought these final 10 were the best culmination of laps.
We also, something that I've never seen through the years of knowing you was an emotional Denny Hamlin. You got very emotional at
have
this
feelings.
win. I like it. I like seeing them sometimes.
Yeah.
What were you feeling right now inside the race car? Was it relief? Was it, oh man, we just hit 60? What was it?
It was hitting 60.
Okay.
That was a personal goal of mine. Obviously, you know, my dad has been a huge fan of mine, and obviously I knew he was watching, and he knew how much 60 meant to me. So it was just setting a goal, working really hard, and then achieving that goal. That all of it came together in one moment.
Well, funny that you mentioned the OG. Can we show some shots of the old man back home in Virginia? Look at this guy. We just collect all the Denny Hamlin memorabilia. He's such a proud dad. So you mentioned him in your career. I mean, can you even imagine if he gets to celebrate a championship with you this year?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I know this is his last chance to get to see it if it does happen.
We can't forget Mom too. Mom's a
No,
special
I mean,
one.
you know, they're 1 and 1A on my number one fan list. But you know, yeah, this is the chance. If we're going to do it and he's going to see it, it's going to have to happen now.
How motivating is that to know that parents want this just as bad as the kid does too?
Yeah, I mean, they're the ones that made the sacrifices
Yeah, of
ultimately, right? I'm the one who said this is what I want to do, and they just had to figure out what all were they willing to sacrifice to make that happen.
Yeah.
And so I'm really, really lucky and blessed that I've been able to repay them as much as I can through this whole process. They're getting to live the lives now that they probably should have, you know, before they had to give up everything to keep me going. But yeah, I really want it for them as much me.
Well, I know that it's been a busy year is an understatement. There's been a lot of noise. It's obviously you're a team owner, but you're driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. You're trying to go after a championship for the first time in your career, what will be your first championship. But, oh yeah, you had a baby boy this year. Jameson came into the world.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this little human.
He's just so perfect, and I know every parent says that, but all he does is smile. That's it.
Aw.
He just smiles and sleeps, and so when he's not sleeping,
Look
he's
at
usually
this.
he is usually just, you give him like just eye-to-eye contact, and he is the happiest boy ever. So I, for the record, was very, very nervous at the gender reveal. I love my
imagine.
2 girls,
Yeah.
but a third, you know,
Time for a boy.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
time for a boy.
Have you thought about sticking JMO into the championship trophy yet? You know that comes if you win at Phoenix, right?
He is such a chunk now, though. At 4.5 months, he is in the 91 percentile for weight.
Jordan told me this.
Yes, so we'll put him in there. He might have half his body out, but the chunk will go in there.
I love it. Well, obviously, you know, every single year is Denny Hamlin finally going to get this championship. If we walk away from all of this and say Sunday doesn't go the way that you're hoping it does, are you satisfied with your career and the person that you are?
I mean, I can tell you that if you would have told me in February that we're going to have 6 wins and go to the championship 4,
Yeah, not a bad year.
I'm good with that. You know, whatever the result is in that one race, it is. But this year has far exceeded my expectations as far as results, especially in my first year with Chris Gale. I know we're capable. I know we're capable. It's all the other things that you don't know about, but I've never been more confident, never been more prepared going into one race as I am this weekend.
How do you make sure that it's not driver mistake on Sunday? What do you do to make it perfect?
In order to be the fastest, you're going to have to put your car on the edge.
Yep.
But it's what I did in Las Vegas. I found another gear when I needed to, and it got us to this point. So there's no sense of being conservative now.
All right, 61 would be special. It would be the championship on the list for Denny Hamlin. Jameson, lose some weight, bud, before we get to Sunday. You might be fitting in a championship trophy. Good luck on Sunday, Denny.
Thank you.
Well, the only driver to lock in on points in this championship for is the driver of the number 5, Kyle Larson, who the round of 8, you guys have a strong points lead heading into these playoffs as a whole, but you come in to a place like Martinsville, and it's you basically versus Christopher Bell in the 20 on these points. So before we look back at some of the season, just walk me through your mindset at Martinsville a little bit.
Yeah, my mindset at Martinsville was, win, obviously, if you could,
Yeah.
but really, focus on Bell, and hopefully, we were going to be better than him throughout the weekend. And I thought, once we qualified, inside the top 10 and he was outside, I was like, okay, this is good, and can set the tone right in the first stage, which it did, and then it kind of made things easier, where I knew I just needed to kind of keep him in my sights. I thought we had a top 3 car throughout the race, and it was in our control at that point.
I want to look back at your 2021 season, particularly this championship at Phoenix, because you were the only driver in this 4 that has won a championship. You're going for a 2 right there on the fire suit, a 2-time champion. So when you look back at this day several years ago, what do you remember from 2021?
Well, I mean, this moment, I guess, or leading into it.
The money stop.
Well, even before that, I remember, we had such a great year, and I'm running 4th,
Yeah.
and I'm like, man, I can't believe I dominated the year. I'm going to finish 4th in points. Like, this is terrible. I hate this format. It sucks, whatever. And then we had the caution, and, I mean, they put together the best stop of the year. And so, yeah, I will never forget, our pit crew being able to do that. And I felt like the length of the run, I was like, man, it's going to time out close where I think I could win this. And Martin put up a heck of a fight and was able to hold him off. I remember my leg was shaking, as I'm kind of pulling off the throttle.
Wait, Kyle Larson was nervous?
Oh, I was, yeah, very nervous.
Love that.
So, yeah, I'll never forget, like my foot was like shaking, so my leg was shaking. So, yeah, it was cool. Winning the first championship is something you'll never forget, and it was just cool to celebrate with the team and, do all the post-race stuff, which a lot of it you forget about. It kind of like becomes a blur and all that.
Yeah.
So it'd be pretty neat to win it again and kind of soak up the moment and remember what this was like, because it feels like a long time ago. And we have a lot of new crew members on our team now, which would be great to celebrate with and get a lot of them their first championship.
How different do you think a multi-championship career will be versus just having the one under your belt? Have you even thought about that?
Not really. I haven't thought about for legacy and down the road what it would mean, if it would mean anything different to be a 1 versus a 2-time champion. But I think, each championship probably means something different. I think you could ask a guy like Kyle Busch, who's got 2, or Joey or Jimmy Johnson, and they all mean something different. I think this year, if we were to win, would mean as much as this first one did, because the first one's always gonna be great, and then people say, oh, nothing's ever as good as your first. But I think for us this year, it's just been really challenging. So I think that's where a lot of the satisfaction of winning a championship would come from, and having, like I said, a lot of new crew members on our team would be awesome to win.
Well, this year it was just an absolute domination by the 5 team all season long. 2021 was the year of Kyle Larson, but let's look at this year, because you just mentioned this year has been difficult. It's been different than what your 2021 looked like. So now, as we kind of are crossing all of these off, I want to look at Homestead here. This was the first win of the season for you guys. Walk me through this day.
Yeah, another day. So typically when I go to Homestead, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna win.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna win. I'm gonna lead every lap, and I'm gonna lead by 20 seconds.
Yep.
And this day, for whatever reason, was just challenging, and I wasn't ever able to get to lead until the end. But we had a long enough run here to finish the race, which is what I need at Homestead. I need long runs, and made some mistakes, but was able to get by Briscoe, then Bubba, and then put some pressure on Alex here, and he made a mistake and got in the wall, and was able to win. So that was a really rewarding race, because a lot like our season, it was just challenging, and we had to keep our heads in it. And I think this moment was one that I'm proud of, because we stayed so mentally strong, and it was a cool one.
I don't know if you guys know where the championship is in 2026, but we're going to Homestead at the end. Not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but then we come to your next win, which was just, again, it was a spring race that it was, all right, the 5 is light years ahead of everybody else, and he's just on his way to get a sword here at Bristol. So this day, perfect day for you guys.
Yeah, no, it was. It was a lot like the fall race of last year. We just had a great car, and that was a special one, because we had lost John earlier in the week, and he meant a lot to us and the 5 team, and for us to go out there and execute on a high level all weekend was great. Lead a ton of laps and win a race, another sword, was great. So it's always cool winning there, but especially when it means something more after you lose somebody that means a lot to you.
Last but certainly not least of the wins this season, we come to Kansas. Break down this 1.5 mile craziness, the speed of Kansas.
Yeah, similar to Bristol, kind of a dominating day in a way, but
you tend to have those.
Yeah, not quite as dominating. You know, Bell was kind of coming on at the end, and Chase was really good on the long runs as well. But our team just did a great job, and that's what it takes, you know, to win Cup races. Is your team has to execute, and pit crew's got to do good. And yeah, that was this weekend. You know, we got the pole, won both stages and the race. So it's been a long time. So hopefully we can win another one this weekend.
This is your third Championship 4 appearance. You're also matched up with a crew chief who you guys have won a championship together at this racetrack. How much are you leaning on experience and knowing, hey, I know what it takes to win a championship at Phoenix and we can get it done again?
Well, I really don't think any of that matters. I think, you know, aside from Briscoe, we've all been in the Final Four a number of times, and even Briscoe's won at Phoenix, so he knows what it takes to win there. So I don't really think past experiences of even winning a championship matters. So yeah, you just got to treat it, I think, as any other race and try to execute on a high level, and that's something I feel like our 5 team has done a good job here in the playoffs, as well as everybody else. But it'll be tough. I think we're all 4 of us are really equal.
Very strong.
Yeah, so I don't really know, like, if there's a favorite. I feel like in other years there's been like a favorite, and this year I don't feel that way. So I think that also probably gives us all probably some confidence. But yeah, we'll see. You know, I just always get excited to get out there on track for practice, and you can kind of get a glimpse of how your weekend might look.
Is there a bigger threat? Is there one that you're like, oh man, he's been showing some sparks the last couple of weeks?
Again, it's hard. Like, you can make a case for everybody.
Sure.
So, you know, I think Denny's obviously like really tough to beat anywhere.
Yep.
And you know, he's gonna try extra hard, as he
course.
always does, you know, to win a championship. William, I think, you know, he's won once or twice or maybe more times at Phoenix, and coming off a good, you know, Martinsville race, probably the best race he's ever ran in his life, you know, so that should give him a lot of confidence. And then Briscoe, you know, he's got a lot of speed. His team does a really good job, and he's just like a dog out there, you know. He just grinds all race long, and always seems to find himself in position and can make something happen on a restart. So yeah, it'll be tough, but it'll be fun and rewarding for any of us who win.
I love that you said the F word, the fun word. Have some fun this week out west. Well, good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
Well, our final driver to lock in with a walk-off win. There were 3 winners going to the championship 4. He is the 3rd winner in the round of 8. Driver the number 24 for Hendrick Motorsports, William Byron. First and foremost, congratulations on the win at Martinsville.
Thanks. Yeah,
I know that
awesome.
was a special day for you to get that win at the track that was his very first race he ever witnessed as a fan.
Yeah.
How old were you?
6.
6. Okay. Now how old are you?
It's been twisted a lot of times, but I'm 27 now. So
27. So
pretty
almost
crazy.
20 years later.
Yeah.
You're over 20 years.
Yeah.
You're winning at that racetrack. So we're going to break down your win at Martinsville, but I first
Sure.
want to talk about this round of 8 adversity that this team faced, because it was not an easy round. And I don't know, you guys had a ton of speed, but there were just situations that you get caught up in some messes. This one being a massive mess at Las Vegas with Ty Dillon. What were your emotions right here on this day?
Yeah, I mean, thank you guys for bringing up a good memory. But no, it was it was a pretty violent wreck, you know. But
Very violent.
yeah, it was definitely tested everything out safety wise. But it was I'm all good from it, and it was just kind of crazy circumstances, right? You know, I hate that it happened, but just the kind of the recognition and how quickly the closing rate is. It was a freak deal. Honestly, there's no other way to describe it. I mean, obviously, it was crazy. Yeah, at this point, I just thought, okay, and then we're in it. So
bad. I still cringe.
Yeah,
When you're getting on the
crazy.
plane, though, to leave Las Vegas, this is not how anybody wants the round of 8 to start. So what's the mindset when this race is over, you didn't finish the race, and you're climbing on an airplane to go back to Charlotte?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to talk about now, but at the time it was pretty depressing and pretty devastating, like I said in my interview. I mean, right here, I'm just like, man,
Shell-shocked.
what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, the last thing I want to do, especially in the round of 8, is get picked up by the ambulance. So definitely a lot to digest that weekend, and then moving past it and just kind of thinking about the next race.
So moving past it, we go to Talladega.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously have the spin at Talladega, which puts you in the must-win at Martinsville. So when you leave Talladega, knowing that you have to win at Martinsville to advance to the championship 4, thoughts?
Yeah, it's in a weird way, like a little bit of foresight. Like throughout the season, I really thought we had to win in this round, and I think everyone has sort of that mindset. But we really built our season around trying to win big races. Martinsville, the feeling was no different.
Well, you win one of the biggest ones. Let's jump to Martinsville, which we're fresh off of this win. So I know you can talk about these memories, but we see this 24 car. You guys win the pole. You win stage 1. It's just looking like such a perfect day. You're passing cars.
Yeah.
When you were driving, at what point in the race were you like, all right, this is lock-in time, this is a winning car?
Man, the Cup Series is so close that I feel like you never really say to yourself, okay, I have a winning or a dominant car, because there's so many pieces to the puzzle. And, so for me, it's like we didn't really need the stage points. So, like, even though we won stage 1, won stage 2, I wasn't thinking to myself, man, like, this is my day. I was just thinking, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next stage? And you just got to keep racing. So I got to the last stage, and I'm like, okay, now is when I need to apply everything I've kind of learned to this point. And Ryan and I obviously had a great battle. A little bit of contact, obviously, but it was a really good battle.
William, I've known you for a long time. I was so proud of this contact because it was great short track racing. It's like old school Martinsville, what we've seen back in the day. But I was like, come on, William, you might have to knock him out of this place. Like, we got to get around the 12. And you did it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's easy.
No, and that's not the goal, right? The goal is not to make contact, but I was committed to the corner, and
Yeah.
he was as well, and we're fighting for space. And obviously, Ty was there,
Not
kinda
easy with 3
letting
wide.
us go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, like right before we made contact, obviously I'm right by the curb, and I lunged in there to the corner as well. So it just is. I mean, that's what you guys want to see, right? It's good racing.
That's what I want to see.
It's hard racing, and and I have a ton of respect for Ryan, and we're ultimate competitors. I mean, I feel like we've had a lot of battles over the years, and he's extremely talented and fast. So tough to pass him.
Let's talk about this incredible photo.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite photos of Jeff Gordon I've ever seen, but also just the emotion between you two. When you win this race at Martinsville, just knowing the legacy and the history, not only of Jeff Gordon at that place, but Hendrick Motorsports.
Yeah.
What are the emotions right here between the two of you? I think he has almost like tears in his eyes. He's so excited.
Yeah. It's a bit of role reversal, right? Like
Yes.
he's been in this same position and won his way to at the time Homestead, and it's pretty damn cool to have him there. And you don't feel like there's often times that you can make either your parents or your boss proud, and that was one of those times.
I don't know if you have looked at the stats of the years or not. Do you know how many years it's been since the 24 has won a championship?
It's been a long time.
24 years.
24 years, gotcha.
So I don't know if the math checks out for you, that 24 years since the 24 has won a championship. I don't know if you see where I'm going with this, but we're obviously taking a look here at Jeff Gordon, and to win in this car, I know is special for you growing up, being a race fan, but to go and compete for your 3rd straight chance at a championship. But if you were to get a championship in the 24, kid William Byron, could he even imagine it 10 years ago, 15 years ago?
I mean, no, but life has a way of working out. And honestly, like, just driving the 24 car was like, man, this is amazing, right? And then you have that kind of imposter syndrome where you're like, this is Jeff's car and this is his team.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
And you think that way, and then now we've made it our own. And honestly, it feels like our car. It feels like my car now. And I race the way I know how to race, and do the best job I can. And he supports me.
Well, the season started off on a high note for this team because you go back-to-back Daytona 500 wins.
Yeah.
I also don't know if you've looked at the numbers of the last champion that won the Daytona 500 previous that year. It was an old Hendrick Motorsports driver. I don't know. The name of Jimmy Johnson might ring a bell at that organization. So big shoes to follow, but I think you can do it.
He's the GOAT. So anytime you can try to do something he's done, it's definitely cool. But yeah, it was a special start to the year. Honestly, that race obviously had some good fortune, but also made some good decisions, and Yeah, it's been a good year, but yeah, we're never satisfied, and that was the feeling after Martinsville. I wanted to enjoy it, but at the same time, there's another
Look
goal.
ahead, yeah.
Yeah.
This is your third straight appearance racing for a championship at Phoenix. Does this one feel any different?
That's crazy, but no, but it does. In some ways, I just feel like we're stronger this year. I just feel like, in years past, I think we've gotten to Phoenix. It's been a relief, and we're like, okay, let's just go put our best foot forward, see what happens. This time, it's more of a plan, and I feel like there's more of a strategy to it. And yeah, I'm optimistic. I'm just felt really good about how we ran at New Hampshire. And I know my crew chief didn't feel as good as me because we didn't win, but I'm like, man, this is a big step for us. I mean, we hadn't even, that track had been a place we couldn't even kind of sniff the top 10. So honestly, I just feel like we're in a lot better spot than we've been in the past.
All right, JG, if you're watching, 24 years since the 24 is won. 24 fans, if you're looking at the numbers, might be a good guy for old WB over here. Good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
First and foremost, welcome to the Championship 4. We're
excited
here.
to be here.
You made it.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, if I'm being honest.
What's the clash of the Titans with Joe Gibbs Racing versus Hendrick Motorsports? I want to dive into the 2025 season, and let's take a walk down memory lane because
Alrighty.
you have 3 wins this season. Your first one came at Pocono
Yeah.
earlier this year. So what do you remember about this win and your first win with Joe Gibbs Racing? I know it was a monumental day for you.
Yeah, I remember, I don't know if it was this pit stop, but one of them, James just cussing me out after I left the pit road because I screwed it all up and we were never going to make it to the end. And then was able to somehow save enough fuel and obviously get to victory lane. Yeah, just a super special day. I felt like up until this point I had the weight of the world on my shoulders just trying to win a race at JGR, truthfully. And once that win kind of came, I literally felt 100 pounds lighter. And ever since then, I feel like the momentum and just the confidence has continued to build. And yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. I feel like it's definitely a tale of 2 seasons for us, kind of the first half of the season up till kind of Coke 600 Pocono, and then the second half of the season to where we're at right now. Yeah, but it's going to be a special day for sure.
Why was the weight of the world on your shoulders? Because this was your first year. I mean, expectations were high at this organization always, but people kind of expected you to take some time to ease into the seat.
I think just that the expectation is to win, and up until Pocono, I think my teammates had already won like 7 or 8 races. So you just felt like Coach brought me there to try to win races, and I even had said it in the media over the offseason, if I don't win in a JGR car, like nobody else is going to hire me to go run anywhere else. So yeah, I remember telling my wife a couple weeks before the Pocono race, like I have to win. If I miss the playoffs, in this car, it's just not going to be good. So yeah, to finally lock in, know that we were going to race for a championship, it was just felt like literally the weight of the world was off my shoulders.
Rate that burnout for me.
That one was okay. I would say it was like a 7 out of 10.
First one in the 19. I was expecting
it was
just
good,
a little
but
bit more.
I was trying to do a burnout the whole length of the straightaway, and it started like going back and forth, and I just spun it out.
Sure. All right, let's go to your Darlington win. Darlington is a track that every single driver wants to win at this place, and it is so difficult to get these wins and to find victory lanes. So break this one down for me.
Yeah, this was a fun night. I think we led like 310 something laps out of, 360 or something like that. We just had an unbelievable car, and I just was super proud of our effort. We went to the spring race at Darlington. I think we ran like 28th. We were so bad. And I'd won the race the year before in the 14 car, so went there with a ton of confidence and just ran terrible. And then for us to come back to the Southern 500 and just, absolutely dominate. Like I said, I'd watched Martin drive the 19 car and dominate races like this, but to finally be the driver behind it was just really cool. And yeah, I remember coming down to the end and just thinking, how am I going to lead 300 laps and not win the race? Because at the end, I was not very good compared to Tyler, but was able to just, hold him off for a couple more laps there at the end. And able to get back to the line and start the playoffs off with a win, which is really special. Like there's just such a sense of accomplishment when you leave there as the winner, and to do it, 2 years in a row, especially at the Southern 500, just a really special feeling.
Yeah, we had some milkshakes in victory lane. It was a late night for all of us, but
it's always
we had
a late
some
night
fun
at the Southern 500.
All right, and then the last win so far of this season, and it locked you into the championship for your win at Talladega. This was a crazy race because I personally feel like you were speed all day long, contention all day long, but when it came down to the end, right place, right time, maybe?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and it's crazy how much my mind was just changing, or my mindset this race. Right now, my whole goal was, how can I push Bubba to push Larson to win the race?
Yep.
And then as soon as Larson pulls down, so how can I push Bubba to win the race? Because from a playoff standpoint, you know, if I didn't win, I really wanted a non-playoff guy to win. So literally at this point, I'm just doing everything I can to push Bubba to beat Kyle. And yeah, so we're pushing, obviously. We get a pretty good run right here. And at this moment, you know, the 5's kind of in my peripheral vision, and then he just goes out. I thought he crashed, and I was waiting for the caution to come out, and I never heard it, stayed wide open. And then I heard 54 clear, and I just turned left. And I felt like if the 54 was clear, he was probably going to go with me, just being a teammate. And when I moved down, it was more so just to hedge my bet that if I didn't win, at least Bubba would win and a non-playoff guy would win. And then obviously was able to you know, get the right push by Ty there at the end to lock into the round of 4.
Okay, so out of these 3 wins this season, is there one that you're going to look back on your career and be like, man, that was a special one for me?
You know, truthfully, the Talladega one meant a lot to me just because I'd never been able to win at a super speedway before. Yep. In any discipline, and I've put a lot of work in trying to get better, and I've just not really had the results. So that one was really special from that reason. That was the first time I've been able to win with Johnny Morris there, and to have that just experience in that moment, and just to see how excited he was. He said that was the first time he'd been in victory lane at Talladega since he was there with Dale Sr.
Really?
And it was our 3rd win, so we did 3 for Dale in victory lane. That was really cool. I don't know, that was just a special one for that reason, but I think the Southern 500 is probably still my favorite out of this year.
I want to talk about another guy who's been instrumental in your career, and it's the old smoke,
yeah.
Tony Stewart. I know he was your hero growing up. You have talked consistently about him being your favorite driver. Can we pull up one special photo of Chase, though, that might bring it home a little bit? This one comes up a lot.
Yeah, I was a Joe Gibbs racing driver even back then, apparently.
How old were you here?
I was probably 6 or 7. That was my Halloween costume one year.
Okay, so you dress up as Tony Stewart.
Yeah.
Transfer now to this guy. This is your fire suit now that you're wearing.
Yeah.
Can you even imagine that this little boy is now racing for a championship looking like this?
No, I can't. I mean, literally almost every single day I'd come home, I'd put that thing on, and I would play my sprint car video game.
He's talking back in the day. He doesn't still put it on.
Yeah, I don't fit anymore. But yeah, it's crazy. You know, just yeah, you know, as a kid, right? Like I dreamed of being a race car driver, and now to have a 1-in-4 shot to win a NASCAR Cup Series championship is a very humbling feeling for sure.
Do you feel like a race car driver now? Because you always talk about this like imposter syndrome that you have, that you don't feel like you're a Tony Stewart now, that you're racing the NASCAR Cup Series. I hate to break it to you, you are.
Yeah, I don't know. I still feel like I'm kind of still defying the odds a little bit. I don't know. I would say as I've had more success this year, I definitely feel like I fit in a little bit more.
Okay, good.
But yeah, I still feel like I'm kind of beating the system, if I'm being honest.
This relationship with Smoke, how has this been? How, as you've gotten older, your career has developed, what's it been like having Smoke as a mentor?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, literally, I dressed up as the guy, right?
Yeah,
like
seriously.
my whole childhood.
Not many people can say that.
Yeah, now to, you know, be able to have not just a relationship with him, but like an actual friendship with him is really, really special. I mean, I talked to him earlier this week even, just leading into Phoenix, and yeah, he talked to me right after Talladega and reached out and said, hey, make sure you call me before you go to Phoenix. I want to just try to help you as much as I can.
What did he say in that conversation?
Yeah,
Give me a little sneak peek.
Yeah, the big thing was just, you know, you got here for a reason. Don't do anything different. It's still just another race. And how Tony is mentality-wise is definitely different than me.
Sure.
He was like, go lock yourself in a room essentially the whole week and just don't do anything. I'm not like that. So I don't know. I took a little bit of it, but certainly I thought it was valuable, you know, what he was saying. Just, you know, you've gotten to this point for a reason based on performance, and it's just another race at the end of the day. You just have to go there and perform. So yeah, hopefully can be doing what he did in 2005.
Tell Tony you have 3 kids. He didn't know
He's
that
slowly
until later
getting
in
it
his
now.
career.
He's got one, I think.
Exactly.
That it's way more work. Yeah.
You're racing for a championship. What do you want to experience on Sunday?
I just want to leave Sunday, whether I win or lose, just know that I did the best I possibly could. And I don't want to make a mistake. Like, I don't want to have something that, you know, something I did, right?
Yeah.
I just want to go there and execute, you know, go into the race feeling 100% prepared. And yeah, if I do that and run the best race to my ability and I don't win, or if I do win, then I can look myself in the mirror the next morning and know I gave it my best shot. So that's all I can ask for.
First one across the line. Good luck
That's all
on
you
Sunday.
got to do, yeah.
And now all that's left to do is for those 4 drivers to head out to Phoenix and race for a championship trophy. NASCAR Inside the Race will be there live Sunday night, so make sure and tune in from the crescent of the Jewel of the Desert. We'll see you there.